Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now as you can tell, I'm sitting down here in the small basement gun room. Now I've got a pile of Arken Optics scattered onto this table in front of me that you guys can't see, as well as this one that I'm holding, this EPL-4. Now I'm going to spend a bit of time talking about the tension that you feel when adjusting your turrets on these Arken Optics. Now in social media, as well as in the comment section and some of my other content, there's some people talking about feeling a difference between the tension when turning these turrets on these optics. So I'm going to talk to you guys a bit about what that should feel like, how consistent it should feel. If maybe you've got a problem with your Arken and you got to reach out to them and get a warranty claim going, or if you're just feeling something that's normal. So this optic that I've got in my hands right now is an EPL-4 6-24 by 50. And get this guy out of the way here. Here's another EPL-4 6-24 by 50. Now what I'm going to start out doing is turning the elevation knob on this for you guys. Now you can hear the clicks, and everybody likes that. That's that Arken, that bang, bang, bang as you're going through it. Now these are the mill versions here, as you can tell by the numbers. But I'm turning this. You guys can hear that. And I'm getting a, it's not really hard to turn. It's not slipping easier where I'd have to worry about this thing brushing on my clothing if this were on a sling. But this is that EPL-4. All right, let me set this down. Here's the next EPL-4. Doesn't move. Now the consistency that I feel between these two EPL-4s is very much the same. I will go ahead and say it is not 100% exactly the same. It's like two apples probably don't smell exactly the same. The tension on these, gosh, it's pretty darn close. But I'd say on this one that I don't have the scope chap on here. The one with the scope chap seems like there is a bit more tension moving this around. Let me take the cap off here. Move the side one around here. I was moving around the elevation turret. I'm moving my windage turret. I'm getting kind of a good feel for that, playing around with it a little bit. Both of these scopes have similar use, and what I mean by that is the turret's been played around with. One of them is not a lot looser because it's been used a lot more, or a tighter one because one's new. Now, this one, again, is a bit, you can hear it probably a little bit more, but there's a bit more tension there. Now, where does the tension that you get in these turrets, where does that even come from? We're going to get to that in a second here. But again, here is the tension of the EPL-4. There is a bit of variance between these two identical EPL-4s. Now, I'm going to grab a different Arken optic. Now I've got a SH-4J Gen 2 here. Now look at the size of this knob compared to that. So we got some differences in the hardware and the mechanics here. But I'm turning this, and it's generally pretty close to the feel that you get with that. Let me reach back over here and get my hands on another SH-4. Now this isn't the J model, but the difference we're dealing with the J model is the glass versus the non-J glass. Now again, very close to the same, but not 100% the same. There's that one. And you guys can hear that there. So what I'm going to go out and say is I have a lot of these SH optics, the 4Js and the just general SH-4s. On this little wall of firearms behind me, there's 1, 2, 3 or 4 of them, along as with some EP5s back there. And what I can tell you guys is that with all my Arken optics, there is a general range that I feel when it comes to the consistency or the tension in these turrets. I don't want to go out and say that there's no two that don't feel alike, because as many of them I have. I've got another wall of sporting rifle AR platforms over this way that have, there's another probably dozen of them over there. And many of them feel alike, but they all feel within a range. So if you are panicking because you've got two Arken Optics and these things do not feel exactly the same, I would not panic. Now, this is something that is going to be more indicative of a optic in these price ranges. These are optics that are under $500, under $400, that offer a lot, but some of those kind of specs are not going to be exact with this. Now, to get to the answer, where does that tension come from? A lot of guys know, but some do not. This annoying thing that is often in your way, putting on a mount here, if you can see it, this plug here. A lot of people think this is a purge plug to put some gas inside this optic so it does not steam up or fog up inside. It's not the case. Now, this thing on the bottom of all these Arken Optics, there you go, on the bottom of the EPLs, on the bottom of these SHs, as well as on the bottom of the EP5s, all these have that. What that is inside there, if you were to take this off, there's a spring inside. Now, if you go to my other content where I actually take one of the EP5s and I just saw that thing down, I cut it open, I yank that out, and it looks like a heavy ink pen spring. So it's kind of a detent in there with a spring on it. Now, that spring provides the tension to keep these things in place. Now, unfortunately, that thing is not adjustable. That spring is what it is. But the tension on your scope's turrets, whether your scope is a week old, a month old, or a year old, this really should not change much after the first couple initial uses. Once the seals kind of loosen up a little bit with lubrication or whatever else it is in there, your optics should not just free spin really easy if you take your hand and do this. You got an optic that your turrets are spinning that easy, where you can go like this with your hand, brush this thing on some clothing. Again, if you put this thing on a sling and it's rubbing and it's turning that turret, you have a problem and you may want to check that out. Just the same as if you have one that is binding. Now, you should be able to take this. See how smooth I turn that all the way around? That is the same consistency all the way around. Now, if your cap is on proper and you've got your set screws all set equally, you don't have one jammed in all the way and one only in one turn, so this cap is kind of off-centered, but you've got your caps on proper, you should not get any binding. If your cap is so tight, you got to grip this thing to really turn it, like we often kind of find with this magnification knob. Very tight on some of the Arkens. That's why you kind of want to get one of these throw levers on here. You've got one that's loosening up nice right there after a little bit, kind of get that lubrication moving. But if you've got one that you can't turn these turrets, you've got problems going on. Just as well as if you have one, when you go to turn this, I'm trying to turn this elevation knob and it's same tension and then it binds up, and then same tension and it binds up. If you got binding going on, you have extremely loose turret. It's just free spinning. You're still hearing the clicks. I'm not talking about your turret cap just spinning, but the actual mechanism is free spinning or it is locked up and too tight. And your zero stop is set correctly. You might want to check with Arken and utilize that lifetime warranty. So hey, listen, I hope this helps you guys out a bit. You are going to find in review a little bit of variance between the tension in these optics, whether you are messing around with the same scopes, different models, or whatnot. You're going to have a little bit of a range that is, in my opinion, acceptable with the optics. So hey, I hope this stuff helps you guys out. Check out these Arken Optics. Again, this is the SH-4 line, and these are the EPL-4s. Now I got to decide what platforms I want to put these things on and get them back in use. So hey, thanks for checking back into the channel. Keep on shooting.